All you young people don't know what that's.
Stacy. Just to say my birthday.
How many extras out there now? I mean, you go out there, it's like a.
Pinch hitting for Andre today?
David and
All
I
right.
are both out of the office, and I thought
Call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join Commissioner Kirshner in prayer.
All right, let's try to get a prayer forward here for a moment. Heavenly Father, we ask as always that you give us the wisdom to do what is in the best interest of those we are elected to serve. We ask that you watch over all the children this evening, as many of them are celebrating Halloween, and they'll be out in the streets. Please protect them. We ask that you protect all the farmers who are now in the season of harvest, and we ask as always that you watch over those men and women who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Roll call. Here.
Here.
I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Tuesday, October 29th, 2019 at Balloon Bell.
So moved. And second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Paradisa?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. We have in our midst the distinguished superintendent of Tiffin City Schools, and I'd like to invite him up for comment first. He's busy, I'm sure. It's busy school year.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thomas. We actually just got back late last night. Myself and 11 other community members were up in Boston at Harvard. We've had the opportunity to partner with Jobs for the Future, which really helps come in and usually does state lifts, but they're working with us as an individual district in our county to do a real community asset map, which some of you in the room have been interviewed for, to really look at ways that we can link both K through 12 education and our colleges to help with the workforce pipeline in our region, to help not only our students become successful wage-earning adults, but also to help our community prosper from that perspective. So really wanted to get a chance just to talk to the commissioners about our upcoming project that we are hoping that we garner a lot of support for, and that'll be a new building, and it'll be really two new buildings in two phases. We're working with the state in an expedited project, and what that does is it allows us to build a new pre-K through 6 building at property we purchased out near Carmies on 231. We have plenty of land there. So we're going to be able to put this building off of the street and be able to have some very, very unique traffic patterns that'll really help alleviate some of the other traffic problems that we have with our schools right now. It'll also be a very, very safe building. Our buildings right now that were built in the 40s and the 50s, with the offices in the middle, aren't designed for safety from that perspective. So we're also very, very keen on that particular piece. And then it'll also help us just from a standpoint of having some modern buildings to be able to do the work that we learned this past week at Harvard through Jobs for the Future that kids need to have to compete in today's 21st century. As you take a look around the county, everyone has new buildings except Tiffin City. Our plan is to have this pre-K through 6 building there, and then to add on to our current middle school and make that a 7 through 12. We would then demolish the current high school, leave the auditorium, and there's enough state funding in there for that remodel, and leave the gymnasium. Even though we would have the competition gymnasium down at the current high school site, our young folks are always looking for gym space within the community, both from the schools and in our youth leagues. So we plan on being on the ballot this March. We want to start getting out early. We are going to be having conversations throughout our community. My goal is to get into 40 homes and have coffee talks from January through that piece. I'm going to be able to have the plans, be able to explain the funding mechanism. But if you think about it right now, we are a 30% match for the state. So for every dollar we spend, the state is going to give us 70% of that. That'll allow us to build. We're asking for the funds to build the elementary, and then the rest of the project, when we come to state funding 4 to 5 years from now for the high school, that'll be completely taken care of, including all the demolition. Including all the demolition of our current buildings. We're going from 6 buildings to 2. Obviously, you could see the efficiency that creates, the safety that creates, and it's just going to make us a much more leaner, more efficient district. Bryce Riggs is leading our levy campaign. He's our levy chair. I'd like for him just to share a few things about the particulars of the levy.
For sure. I've had the opportunity to work with a number of you in the room. This will be actually my 4th levy, my 3rd with Tiffin City Schools. About a year ago, Commissioner Thomas had a column in the paper talked about education and kind of, the young folks, educating them here, keeping them here, and that they're really taking these opportunities for the future. I think I'm in a unique situation where I actually, general education was Tiffin City Schools, my undergrad's from Heidelberg University, and my master's will be from Tiffin University. I joke that the only thing I have left is the Hair Academy. It's probably not going to happen. I have a full gamut in Calvert as well. So for me, I think honestly it boils down to our students and our educators deserve the best facilities to maximize their learning and teaching abilities. Our parents deserve obviously facilities that keep their children safe. They feel like they can sleep at night with their students, especially with kind of the current environment and culture that a lot of the issues and concerns. Then from the community perspective, I think it's really important that we have facilities that that we're proud in. The businesses know that the students go there and they're being able, they're getting the best outcomes when it comes out of it. I'm again a unique perspective where I was educated here, stay here. I worked for the Economic Development Organization for about 4 years, and now I'm at Tiffin University. So I think. I'm just one example of somebody who was educated here, and I just can imagine what these facilities will do for our future. As kind of Gary said, we'll be hitting the road show. We've kind of already started a lot of things so far, and we have our first committee meeting in November, and we'll be rolling things out from here on until March. We're really excited about it, and really would appreciate everyone's support in this initiative, so we can better our school districts for our students. So thank you again.
Can you tell us some of the particulars as far as what the levy amount is?
Yes.
The average $100,000 house, those statistics, so that we can make sure that information is out
So
there.
the pre-K through 6 building will be $44 million. Okay, and the good news is with our funding, with what it will cost the voters, that is $193 a year for a $100,000 home. But the middle school levy falls off in 2023, in January of 2023, so 2022 is the last year of that, and 2.5 mils fall off, which is about $73. So what it ends up is it'll cost the $100,000 homeowner $10 a month.
Okay.
And the one thing.
And how long does that run?
That'll run 30.
30.
Yeah, that'll run 30.
And one thing with Gary also to show is the local match. So obviously, to maximize our efforts, right now it's 30% local match, 70% the state is in for the rest. So I think for our standpoint, it's probably never going to be lower.
Yeah.
So it's we're really maximizing these monies now while they're available, and with inflation about 5% every year,
Yeah.
you continue to add costs. I know with the Justice Center that was kind of in the discussions as well. With inflation as of late, it really continues to add more. So I think it's kind of perfect opportunity now to get the ball rolling, get these facilities built for our students.
So will the property be annexed into the city of Tiffin? Is that the plan?
We're looking at some possibilities, but that's not something that we necessarily can control.
Okay. I mean, obviously it's adjacent, it's very close, it's a
Yeah.
good site.
Right. There would be a couple of different options that we've explored. Obviously there's some benefits to having, a district work with one particular law enforcement agency.
Sure.
To work with one particular fire. There's some advantages to that. Just from a safety and security standpoint and communication.
Yeah.
Gary, from a strategic perspective, you want to speak about, some folks have asked about, the school district, right, expands much larger than the city of Tiffin itself. You want to kind of talk a little bit about kind of the site selection process to get the site.
We
Some folks
actually-
have questions about that as well.
We spent, a lot of folks have asked the question as to why on the outskirts of our district. But we've spent 2 years really looking at sites. And it's very difficult to come up with that acreage within the city of Tiffin, number one. And then number two, that particular site offered all the infrastructure that we needed that really held the cost down. So, I know when we take a look at, okay, $998,000 for 82 acres, but infrastructure's there. When you take a look at the middle school property when it was bought, they purchased 15 acres, 18 homes for $1.8 million, and then after demolition, it was the total cost of the property was over $3 million. So, I think we're in really good shape. Having that much property allows us to do a lot of things with traffic, and a lot of things with parking, and to separate parents and bus traffic is extremely critical, not only for efficiency, but also for just safety of students.
And the existing elementary schools, those are to be demolished as well? Because
Yes.
that's always an issue when you leave schools
Yeah.
behind.
Yep, so the Kraut property will probably garner six residential lots.
Right.
And we'll recapture some funding with that. The property at Washington, we're in conversations with TU. The possibility of them using that for student housing. The Noble property will also probably be set for some type of housing. The Lincoln building, we're gonna hold on to, most likely move our central office maybe there. We will still keep the historical building for some type of purpose from that, but moving our central office will allow everybody to get together, and then we'll use, just like we do now, rent out that additional space to WSOS or the Career Center. I'm sorry, the Educational Service Center.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So there won't be legacy buildings left abandoned in
No,
this plan?
no, sir, no, sir.
So that's always a concern.
That's all in that millage.
And as you know, the West Junior High site is
Yeah.
actually up for
We
auction.
really think we'll be able to make the the Kraut site will be a very attractive place for lots and for homes. And the Washington site also for the college, and then Nobles. Any new housing we can get in our area, because we know people search
Yeah.
for that is important.
So Gary, I have a question. So the 44 million, does that represent the 30% number?
No.
So 5 years from now, when everything's built, are we going to have $1 million plus worth of buildings?
It represents the share that it costs to build that building. We would then build our high school. We would probably, if the question is, would we have some additional funding? We would.
But then that comes from the state, right?
It all comes from the
Because
state. Yeah,
so
we will,
but I
we
think
will,
you should bring that.
we will definitely have a balance that'll allow us to maintain those buildings for a long time. Because the cushion we'll have will obviously allow for, blacktop and roof repairs and things like that.
So the total project is 44 million.
Yes,
So our share will be 132, 30%?
no.
No?
We have to, because we're going with an expedited project, we have to raise the first building first. They pay for the additional, the high school, which is obviously more expensive
Okay.
from that particular piece.
Okay, so instead of, right, so I'm thinking Fremont right now.
Right.
Fremont is doing the same thing, 4 grade schools, but their end project's $100+ million worth of construction. I get it, we already have the junior high, but the K through 6 plus the new high school is going to cost more than 44 million.
Yes.
Okay,
Much
so,
more, much
so
more.
that's what I think you should put in
Okay,
your.
yeah.
I think the citizens, so what you're saying is, the district has to front the money. They're not gonna get the 70% on the first building.
Correct,
But when you build the second building, they don't have to put any money up.
correct.
Okay, so, that's where I'm going, Mike. So in the end, the total impact to the city of Tiffin School District is close to 100 million, I would think.
Yes.
So I would try to figure out what that number is.
Yeah, we're just, the thing about it is why we don't have that number just yet. We will when we actually, you know, have community meetings and nuts and bolts meetings. Because we just explored different scenarios where we built next to the current high school.
Sure.
And now we're just doing the program of requirements for the addition.
Okay, got it.
What is the status of current renovation projects? I know on the last levy, there was discussion about improving the performance wing of the high school, and you knew I was gonna ask this.
Yeah,
I
oh
ask
yeah,
every
yeah,
time.
and you know that's so I secured funding from Mercy for $50,000 for 5 years. So there's $250,000 of private donation towards the Performing Arts Center. What we did now is because we're deciding, you know, the remodeling our high school is not an option, because the state will not fund if it's 67% or over to remodel what it would cost to build new, they won't fund you.
Okay.
So now that we have to fund or build new or the addition, the new onto the middle school, because that's going to be torn down. We're being very careful with our architects to see what exactly. We don't want to do any addition or any improvement that's not going to be encompassing that plan, because you could think of things like HVAC and all that's going to have to be planned out. With those dollars from Mercy, though, I would say the minimum thing that we can do is flooring and new seats.
Lights.
Yes. Very dim.
So, how does that work with, you know, you've got the marching 150. Are they gonna be at the high school, or are they gonna be at the performance wing of the?
They'll be that'll just be for performances. They'll actually have
Rehearsal space
yeah,
at the high school?
yeah,
Okay,
and much more than we have right now,
right,
because we don't have enough.
right.
Our band is not going to get any smaller.
No,
No.
it's amazing,
Mhm.
yeah.
But I concur, it's amazing to drive around the county and really the state and see all the new schools. They're quote campuses now that,
For sure. We say what's good for Tiffin, it's good for Seneca County. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Fostoria, for example, has newer school buildings. Seneca East, other school districts have, and I think for us, it's just, you know, the Tiffin City Schools provides a great quality education. Now it's having the facilities that matches that. It allows you to maximize kind of what you're doing in the classroom, allows you to really to do more. And so I think that's what this is about for us, is being able to compete and be competitive with other school districts within the county. And again, what's good for Tiffin City is good for the entire county.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Thank you.
my child's a product of the school system. She seems to be doing fine, so I appreciate all the good the teachers did, so.
Actually, I want you to parenting or the school district.
It wasn't parenting.
Partnership.
Harry, do you know
But we appreciate it.
Shane's involved with the Ritz players
Yeah.
now? And he
Kill
died-
Mockingbird.
He died twice this weekend.
Get back, right?
Bad, yes.
So
Thank
again,
you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Vicky, did you have any questions? Not right now. Not right now, okay. Alright. Administrative report. Commissioner reports.
Just a small report. Tomorrow at 12, we're going to meet right with the Ditto Group and go
Yeah.
over our capital projects. And since our meeting, the fairgrounds, Mike and I have talked to the fairgrounds. They are looking to replace the fence around the fair. So they forwarded us the estimate for that, and we're going to introduce that tomorrow as one of the projects. And also, did Beth send us the ADA information we need for
Shane.
tomorrow? Shane, did you
You
get
got
that?
it.
I did, yeah.
Okay, because as of yesterday, she was gonna send it for the health department. So we're looking forward to that meeting as we fine tune and finalize the projects, right, that we're gonna submit to the state. And I just want to make a comment on the master plan. This is from my perspective, we had, want to congratulate Charlene and regional planning for facilitating that, but I forgot my hat, Shane. I went out and talked to Craig out there, but I was very impressed with the work that has gone into the county buildings, and we're breaking this down into basically the farm campus and downtown. So in our terminology, we have two areas of buildings, and then we got a couple stragglers. But Lou was there. I thought we made some. It was my first time in a big meeting like that, and to really see all the hard work kind of come together. So I just want to recognize that we had that meeting, and congratulate everyone for the hard work. And we all made a pact yesterday that we would continue to communicate and try to involve everyone as we move forward. So I thought that was good.
The only thing I have is, there was some question about a meeting that we have Friday. It's a policy committee meeting at Solid Waste District, Ottawa, Seneca, Sandusky, Solid Waste District. There's a policy committee. And, there was some question as to whether or not that was going to be an open meeting. And I just think it was an error on the executive director's part. That is going to be an open meeting. We've had some conversations. And I think I reflect all of our views when I say, if there's an opportunity to make a meeting open, we're all for transparency. So, we mitigated that concern, and Sandusky County Commissioners concur with that. That any meetings that concern the citizens or their citizens want to be at, they should be able to be at. And with the exceptions, of course, of things that are provided by law, which are compensation, litigation, property acquisitions, executive session type things. But, so, I think, we're in good shape on that. But we'll chalk it up to a rookie mistake with the executive director, and we'll make sure that we communicate clearly to her that, we want to be as transparent as possible. So, specifically to Mr. Wolf and Nate Heiser and Doug Nutter, who are here, about that, concern, that I think we're in agreement with you.
Thank you.
Transparency.
It's good.
Commissioner
Well, that's the problem with being three of us, I think you guys summarize everything from Tuesday until today. Ditto, I was part of those meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were at different times.
Yeah.
They went on one day and I went on separate
Yeah, it's
days.
2 days
except for
versus
2 days. So I
10.
thought that was good. Got a little different perspective. Any comments?
Nothing more.
Okay, old business, anything?
Yes.
Oh,
The Veteran of the Year dinner is November 8th at 5:30. Shane and Mike are going, or
I
are
mean,
you going?
I actually sent my form in, sorry. I didn't type
That's
it.
okay.
But yes.
I gotta get those chicken green beans and,
that was a good time last year, though.
yeah, it is, that's what I
I
think.
try to go.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Do we have any questions on meetings coming
It's
up?
the 8th?
Yes.
Yes.
Next week, we had penciled in case we needed some budget hearings, basically Tuesday, Wednesday, and then our regular board meeting on Thursday. I don't have anything for Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm just getting started on looking through some of the budgets, because just had some delays. So,
Can we designate like Thursday and Friday in case you've got anything by then, at least keep them open?
I don't know.
Where are we at with meeting numbers?
We're pretty
We're good. We're
Pretty good shape, okay.
Yeah.
So.
You should take more vacation.
Yeah. Thursday, so let's plan on Thursday, If something pops up early in the week, we could hold over some stuff to Friday if there's something else that we wanna have a budget hearing and some other stuff. But, at this point, let's just plan on Thursday.
Okay.
Tuesday's election day. All right, new business.
New business. I have 2 requests from the sheriff's office. One is for $600 for the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program Fund for their training. Again, that's $600. And then I have a second request from the sheriff's office for $24,855. This is for total with salaries and contract services, $14,855 is salaries, $10,000 is contract services. Again, Justice and Mental Health Collaborative Fund Program. I don't know why she didn't put them together, but maybe she didn't realize she needed it. So those are the 2 I have online. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Public Assistance Fund. This is $36,464.57. It's from their 2 funds that we passed last week. And I have another resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Public Assistance Fund. Same concept from their child support services to the transfers in $70,127.31. And I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to Public Assistance Fund. They are moving their WIA, and help me out with that if I don't remember WIA. Workforce Investment.
Opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, there she goes. Somebody would help me. I knew somebody would help me. I'm trying to get better at these acronyms. And then I have a resolution accepting the bid from Great Lakes Community Action Partnership for the 801 Kirk Street. And we've asked Lou and
Ruth Ann.
Ruth Ann, yes, to be here today if there was any questions. The Opportunity Center had passed the resolution, so. But that's all I have.
Okay, I'll accept the motion.
I will move to approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Lou, do you wanna say anything, in that regard?
Not
You got a
that,
bid, you're happy?
yep.
Really? Yeah, could do
You have
great
an
things.
Offer on acceptance.
Yeah.
You
we're
worked so hard at it, you
extremely
fell over and broke your arm. Yeah.
Yes, right.
It's been a long partnership. It's been a 15-year partnership, and the key thing from the Opportunity Center and our board is that children in Fostoria still being served in the center, and I think that this partnership and this transfer of property enables that to happen. So that's the most important part of this. This whole project was put together by the Fostoria community and Seneca County community to support children in the Fostoria area. And we are still serving children in the building. We'll still serve children in home, which is really our biggest emphasis. Is been a transition from center-based to home-based services, which has left us not to have the need for the building as much. We still need a footprint there, and WSOS has been the mainstay, the main footprint forever. So it's a great partnership.
I would just like to thank Lou and his folks. I mean, the building, we had an assessment conducted on the building just so we kind of knew where things stood, you know, all the systems and so forth, and they have maintained the building in excellent condition. So, you know, we're very comfortable with this, and Lou's right. We look back at, you know, all the partners who came together to make that a reality, and it's really an impressive list of probably 20 to 25 groups and entities and who made contributions. And as you know, Fostoria continues to be an area of high need. We don't have any trouble filling the classrooms, and we want to maintain a strong presence there. So for us to lose that facility would have really hurt us and put the program in jeopardy. So we're very excited, and we also appreciate the longstanding partnership.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah. Good job. All right, I'll accept, our roll call.
Commissioner Garavisa?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. All right, anything else to come before the board? Time for public comment. Charlene.
So Charlene Watkins, Regional Planning. I just want to publicly thank all the elected officials and department heads for putting their heads together, being frank and honest, and telling the truth, and telling us what they thought about their buildings and what their needs are as we progress to the building management plan. Without their frankness and their honesty and their true love for what they do, we wouldn't have been able to work with Gossman and get to the point to where we are to have such a futuristic type of plan, is the best way to put it. What we saw over the past 2 days was just proposals and ideas. The true plan will be coming forth to the commissioners in November for their review for a month-long process, and then we will ask for approval in a public meeting in January. We had to lay out a little different timeline due to holidays, and we all know how everybody gets with the holiday brain, so we didn't want to mess up the commissioners too much with that. So I just again want to thank everyone and tell everyone how pleased I am with it, and we really appreciate everybody's time and effort. So.
Thanks for your effort. Absolutely. Okay, other public comments? Okay, yes.
You need me to come up there or just?
Just state your name. You can come up if you want.
Okay, my name is Myra Spires. I just wanted to talk a little bit about living next door to the landfill. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about it, but I guess it's our turn to speak a little bit. I just wanted to say that on my way here, I was driving down 224 and the smell was just as bad as I remember it being last year. It takes me back to those moments of driving through. You guys would understand if you drive from Tiffin to Foster or to Finley, that whiff of air that you would get. There's no hog farms, there's no fertilizer, there's none of that. It's right there. The winds are going in the right direction. They're still claiming the odors are in the past. Not true. I've called 15 times since June. And if you talk to Hunter Blessing, for the most part, all of my phone calls have been accurate with the readings, okay?
Hunter Blessing is
the new health department inspector, okay? And I'm getting lost here with my notes. So when I call, I usually try to make sure that I'm accurate with the calls, so they can't try to blame it on other odors. Now, the last meeting, you had mentioned something about thinking that those high readings were from, yes, Mr. Kushner.
I'm getting the finger pointed.
Yeah.
I know that look.
Yeah. You had mentioned that it could have came from other sources. Now, if the hog farm and the fertilizer doesn't reach above 15 parts per billion, what other sources could you have been thinking of?
I was simply asking the question because I don't know the answer. I've never heard of anybody's concern about hog farms until last week. Nobody's ever said that to me before. So there was some question in previous conversations, not necessarily with you, but in previous conversations that the wind direction was opposite of what really could have been generated by the landfill. I know you just stated that usually when you called, you're pretty accurate. I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
I was simply asking the question, are there other potential contaminants that could cause the odor? Very simple question.
Okay.
It wasn't a challenge, it wasn't a...
Well, I was just curious because, smelling something and then actually getting readings from something are two different things, You could smell it but still not get a reading. But they're saying, I've heard that, or other people speculate that what we're smelling is something else. Well, I don't like to be challenged myself when I'm their neighbor and I've smelled it for over a decade now. And I'm not upset with you about it, but I was just curious what you have been fed on information that we're not aware of.
Anything, especially hogs.
Okay. Okay, and then, let's see here. Where am I at? Oh, October 16th, the sulfur dioxide odor was in my house. It was coming in through my windows. It was one of those days where it was just a nice, cool, brisk day where my kids were actually walking around in heavier clothes because I wanted the air to just, remove some of the, whatever it is in my house, just to kind of get some fresh air in there. And of course, that starts coming in my house, coming in my windows. I called the complaint number 3 times. I have it on my phone. I called it 3 times and no operator was available. Okay, and then, let's see here. Now we have 2 brand new personnel at the OSS. Or, I'm sorry, we have 2 brand new personnel. 1 at the OSS, Director Kathy, and 2, the Health Department, Hunter. Now, we've been in this for over a year now, and neither one of those 2 have any kind of previous experience. Okay? We are tired of hearing, I don't know, and we don't have the resources to check that. We've been hearing that a lot of I don't knows from a lot of people that should know, the ones that are responsible for things. Like you said at the last meeting, the EPA, the Health Department. Well, we've reached out to them. They're like, oh, I don't know, I gotta send it to so-and-so, I gotta send it to so-and-so. Nobody's getting back to us on any of these questions that we have.
Now, is Hunter Blessing?
Now, he's been a little helpful, you know, I got to talk to him, but he still doesn't have a lot of experience
Okay, but-
from before.
My question was, is he a new hire for them specifically to monitor?
Yes,
That's some job that had not been in place previously, right?
yes,
Okay, I just wanna make sure I understand.
right,
He's Seneca County Health District, General Health District.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a sanitarian that they hired, who just graduated college.
Have you spoke with the health department?
Yes,
Like you're doing here?
sorry?
Like you're doing here?
I
Speaking of public
I have done it before, but I haven't done it recently.
sense.
But I am in contact with, at least I've talked to Hunter, I've talked to Ann, I've talked to Laura.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, sulfur dioxide meters would be great, like they have at the landfill right now for the H2S. It would be a good start if they could have something like that, the permanent meters that are around. Because now, of course, we have all these meters for the H2S, but that's not supposedly the problem right now. It's the SO2, which is the H2S turning into SO2 from the flares. So it would be nice if they could do something like that. I know that you guys don't have the power to do that stuff, but I'm just voicing my opinions here. And I am concerned now more than I was before because we still don't have professional oversight. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Myra. Other concerns for the board?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Logan Wolf from Fostoria. I kind of want to add on to what was just said. Recently, representatives from the landfill have been saying that there haven't been any significant emissions over the last 2 quarters, and that's not exactly true. With the most recent consent order, because of the increasing sulfur dioxide, they were permitted 479 rolling tons in a year, and because they weren't able to comply with that, it's my understanding that they got special permission now to emit 248 tons per month, which would be about 3,000 in a rolling year. And we spoke about this at a recent health department meeting, and landfill officials said that they're planning on raising the flares up, which is going to happen sometime next year. And they think maybe that's going to disperse it more and it won't be as much of a nuisance for residents, but we don't know for sure if that's going to be the case. They said long term, maybe in a couple of years they'll start capturing the gases and treating them to get the H2S levels down. But we don't know if any action has been made on that part, when that's really going to happen. They said in the newspaper that they are collecting landfill gases, but talking to them in person, they said that hasn't been started yet. It's going to be several $1 million to get that plan in place, but they're operating without a PSD permit, which is required once they're going over a certain number of tons, and they're 100 tons, rolling tons in a year, and they're going at about almost 1,700 right now, and that's a federal law that requires that, and so the state EPA doesn't really seem to be getting on them about having that permit, but under federal law, they should be applying for that, and that's just more concerns that we have. So that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Please. Commissioners, Ben Nutter, Sunny Farms Landfill. I like the sound of my own voice when we're talking about Sunny Farms Landfill, especially when it deals with things that we are or are not going to do. We are, in fact, going to raise the height of the flares because that does, in fact, disperse SO2 quicker. The
Time frame.
PSD permit,
Time frame on that?
it'll be hopefully the first quarter of 2020. I think we're in design phase now. So the permit that Mr. Wolf talked about, we agreed with the state of Ohio EPA to follow exact steps of compliance with our permit to install. And because we are in that agreement with the state of Ohio, we don't need the PSD permit. So, and at the end of the time of our compliance with the Ohio EPA, we will then get the PSD permit. But we're operating it without it, as the rules are for the Ohio EPA. I'm not a lawyer, but that's why we don't have the PSD permit.
You're meeting their timeline?
Correct.
The Ohio
We are
EPA's
walking.
timeline?
We are.
Yeah.
Yep. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, yes. Mr. Heiser.
Nate Heiser, Astoria. Okay. The interim period that, by the way, I like the sound of my voice better when we're talking about the landfill because it's the truth. This interim period that they're allowed to violate, the EPA granted them this interim period that they can violate as much as they want. That doesn't take away the fact that they've still been violating over the past decade for these sulfur dioxide emissions. The report is right there. I wish somebody brings some information that they could give to you like I could that says, hey, they are in violation. The EPA says, well, now, since you can't make the sulfur or the hydrogen sulfide go away, well, we're going to let you violate the sulfur dioxide flares until a week or so ago. The interim period was over. So I'm looking forward to these new numbers that are coming out to see if they are in fact down. And it's my belief that the odors that we're experiencing today and recently over the last week was probably because they're trying to bring those flares down, the sulfur dioxide levels down, which is going to increase the H2S, which everyone notices more directly. So the agreement with the EPA is not favorable to the residents. It's not. What other regulatory authority gets money from somebody that they're overseeing? I mean, that is a direct conflict of interest. I mean, I don't understand why they're allowed to do that. And the EPA says, well, you guys can't quite make it, so we're going to let you violate until, you know, you think you can get it. Is this enough time? Well, maybe. So now the interim period's over. Let's see what happens. But I'm going to leave you with this. The EPA is not on our side. Not on your side, not on anybody in this community's side. They are on the landfill side because they're getting paid millions of dollars. And that's what runs their agencies. And without that, they're belly up. So we got to keep that in consideration here. The state EPA has, the Bowling Green office has let me down dramatically, let the community down dramatically. We need to do this ourselves. Without them, we need to change that host agreement. We need to modify it. That's the way to go. And I've said it all along, and I'll keep saying it. And that's all I had to say.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order? Tyler, anything from the city?
Just glad to be here. You guys are getting some good things done. It's nice to see what we have going in the city, but you guys are doing some great things as well. But glad to be here and see what's going on in the county.
Adams Township, any report from Adams Township?
Bill Frankert, I want to commend Charlene and for putting together a meeting with the EMA on working on some grant stuff for coming down the pike. So, very good job. We had a meeting Tuesday or Monday it was, I guess. It was, yeah, so I want to commend her on that.
All right. Excellent. Very good. We're adjourned.